Good morning, everyone. This is Dianne Murray at Southern Art Gallery, and today I am painting this little seascape that I painted yesterday in oil, and I thought I would just show you the difference in techniques as far as watercolor and oil go. With watercolor, of course, we build from light to dark. And with oils, we tend to do the opposite. So I've just laid down one layer of the color just as a guide so that I can map where everything's going to be. And I'm just building my color now a little bit stronger. This is cerulean blue, a combination of cerulean blue and verditer blue by Holbein. The cerulean blue is Daniel Smith chromium, cerulean chromium, and we're just making the color a little more vibrant. The brush I'm using is a Da Vinci Castaneo, which is one of my favorite brushes. This combination of pink is M. Graham's Quinacridone Rose and a color from Holbein called Lilac. It's just a gorgeous, gorgeous color. So we're just going for a little more vibrancy and intensity. This is a dime that I have put in my paper towel to keep the little sun soft. Okay, I'm liking that. And before we can drop all this in, we need to let this settle out a little bit. These shadows are a combination of Quinacridone Violet and a color by Winsor Newton called Smalt. Just to give us some interest here. And these are the shadows in the dunes, and that's why we're doing this way. Give the illusion that they're coming down here. Just to get some texture into the sand. All right, liking that better. And we will dry this and come back in with some more layers. All right, so that's nice and dry. So I think we will go in and start putting our grasses in, just randomly. This little brush is a Royal and Langnickel, and it has, I call these rake brushes. Doesn't work real well, but it does kind of give us some texture here. It's really nice for doing tree foliage. This is Sap Green by Color, which will be our base color. And this needs to be wetter, obviously. I'm just giving us some random marks here to layer on top of. And in the distance on the top of this dune right here, I think we're going to use something different for that, but we'll just lay it in to remind us that there's a dune line there as well. So this is just mapping out where the greens are going to go pretty much, and we'll cover all this up. Just building texture as we go. Keeping this loose. We don't want to be tight at this point. And I'm going to change brushes because I don't like that brush. Let's try this one, which is also a rake brush. Oh, that's a little better. Give us a little dune line there. This is also, I think, Royal and Lang nickel. Okay. Just establishing our dunes here. This is an M color called Azo Green. A lot of people have it and call it green gold. Just to give us some more marks here and there. And we'll start. See if we can get a little definition coming in here and there in our grasses. This actually works better as a foliage brush than the other one. When we go in to put the long sea oats in, we'll use a liner brush there. Right now we're just building up form. This is Quin Gold. We'll just get some definition in here a little bit. That's too much. Anytime you put in something and it's too much, just dab it back. I just want the grasses coming here and there. I want this to be a relatively dry brush effect on this painting. Give us the illusion of feeling of the beach. It's good strong there. And if you want these loose lines, you really have to manage the water. You have to use a lot of water on your brush to get this look. I really like these shadows that are in here. Just the illusion of a little bit of grass here and there, not too much. All right, so move back into the Azo Green. Give us some more interest here and there. Building, because we're going to build this entire mass here. And you also have to pay attention to, in your reference, whether you're painting plein air or you're painting from a photo, it's important to realize what the wind was doing, because grasses, of course, are very susceptible to the wind. And I'll just continue building this until I'm happy with it. It is slightly different than this one, but anytime you do a painting, it's going to be different. Well, this is back into the sap green. That's a bit much, so we'll just put that back. People say watercolor is unforgiving, but I don't think it really is. I think you can correct most mistakes. A light touch is the key here when it comes to this, and not overdoing it. And these are all going to be covered up, but we'll put some texture in there anyway. This is a great little brush right here. I would really recommend if you are looking for a foliage brush or a rake brush that you find one that looks similar to this. I apologize for not knowing. I think Royal and Langnick will make it. It's called a rake, or some people call it a whisk brush. I really want this to just run off the page down here. So I'm just going to let that happen. Make this painting softer. And actually, I think I will just mist all of these. If your painting's looking too tight, this is the easiest way to fix it. And we'll just run this along here. Yeah, I like that. And now I'm taking straight sap green and my favorite liner brush. This is one by Robert Simmons. It's an E50 script liner, number 3. It is a wonderful brush. And it makes great marks. We're erring too much on the warm side. So now we're bringing in some cooler greens. This just takes just loose strokes. Generally, I make them from going up because it just makes nicer strokes. Just be sure that your brush is heavily loaded, and you have to get the right consistency with your paint so that it's got enough pigment to water ratio so that you can actually produce marks, but not so much that they all run back. And you can make a C shape if you want to kind of randomize the marks of the grasses. And grasses are very random. They do. You don't want them too harsh though. Okay, we want this whole to be one big dune coming down, so I want to emphasize that. And again, if it gets too stiff, just add some water. And that'll loosen it up and help your grasses to blend better. And of course, your foreground grasses are going to be much more detailed than these back here, or even those that aren't really going to show up. I'm just going to give some color back in there, so we have some depth. This is the focal point right here. So you really want that to be significant there.
And this is the end of part 1.